Hey guys, Coach Jose here, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about intermittent fasting, or what I call window eating. So what is window eating? What is intermittent fasting? Well, it's the idea of not eating all the time and eating your calories in windows of time. So what would be the benefit of this? Why would you want to do this? Well, human beings by design really shouldn't have food all the time. In fact, if you think of us historically, when we were hunter-gatherers, we didn't have things stocked in the pantry, and we couldn't go through the drive-thru to pick up a chimichanga anytime we wanted, right? We had food in more intermittent windows of time. And what we know now through emerging science is that when we don't eat for extended periods of time, we actually give our bodies the opportunity to do a lot of great work. One, correcting metabolic issues, keeping us lean, right, so that we don't have excess body fat. And it also improves our body's ability, or allows our body to repair itself and recover. So these are some of the things that happen when we don't eat continuously or constantly. The other thing is we don't have to worry about food as much. That's, I find, one of the best things that we can do. I've been personally intermittent fasting for a decade now. The science was starting to come out. Originally, it looked at things like lower calories. People that ate less calories tended to live longer with less disease. But what the science is now showing, it wasn't necessarily that we were eating less calories, is that maybe we were eating at certain times of the day, and we weren't eating throughout the day. And that's kind of hard to hear sometimes, right? Because I was guilty of suggesting people have lots of small meals throughout the day, and that was a way that we could balance blood sugar. But I was wrong. The science that we were using at that time was kind of incorrect. It really didn't look at our biology properly, and now we have some corrections that help us understand how important it is to maybe not eat all the time. And some of the benefits that do come with that is that we lose some of the foggy brain issues that we have. We sleep better. We definitely shed body fat. Body actually becomes better at burning fat as a fuel, and that's something that we want. It gives us more metabolic flexibility. We can reverse conditions such as type 2 diabetes. These are things that we will see happen when we practice this skill. And in fact, when I'm working with people one-on-one, this is the one thing, if they were going to make one modification to their diet, I think that I would have people modify their window eating and actually really practice something called intermittent fasting, which is we're going to talk about. And all it really is that you fit your calories into a smaller window of time. So for example, the way that I do it on a typical day is I skip breakfast. I don't eat breakfast, and usually my first meal of the day when I break fast, right, breakfast, would be around noon to 1 o'clock. And then my window opens up, and I start eating my calories for the day between, let's say, noon and 7 p.m. That might be my window. And so that would be about a 7-hour window. And typically what we're shooting for in an ideal world is around 8 hours. So we want to fast for about 16 hours and then open up our window to eat somewhere between 6 and 8 hours, if that makes sense. And it can be pretty easy doing it the way that I do it, but you can do it any number of ways. We also recommend not doing this every single day when you get started. This could be kind of challenging if you're used to eating, breakfast and then a snack and maybe lunch and then something else in the afternoon and then your dinner. This could kind of be challenging for you, not only physically, but mentally, right? Because we get into habits of eating. But this is one way that we can really work on both the physical aspects of hunger and the psychological aspects of hunger. And we want to make sure that you have a good relationship with this process. It is not about restriction. In fact, we probably won't eat less calories by doing this. We'll just eat the calories that we normally do in a smaller amount of time. And I can tell you, it makes a huge difference. I feel more alert, I stay lean, I'm in my 50s now, and I find that this actually is something that helps me maintain a lean body mass. So let's look at how this might work. So ideally, when we get started with this, what I recommend is that we pick 2 days a week, and it's called the 5-2 method, where 2 days a week, you're just going to extend the length of your fast. So you may wake up, let's say your last meal for the day was around 7, 8 p.m., you go to bed, and I do recommend using part of your fasting time when you're sleeping, because if you could imagine that you're getting 7 to 8 to 9 hours of your fast in when you're sleeping, that's awesome. It makes it so much easier. And then you just need to have a little bit of fast before you sleep and a little bit of fast afterwards. makes it much easier to actually follow through this technique. And all you might do is just not eat your breakfast, right? And see how long you can extend it. We can ease into this process. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing right away. In fact, if you can get a 10-hour eating window in at the beginning, that's great, right? So you get about a 14-hour fast and then a 10-hour window eating. And then slowly you can work on it, because this shouldn't be super uncomfortable. Right? A lot of the hunger you will experience won't be necessarily from physical hunger. It's probably going to be more likely from psychological hunger, where you're used to eating into this pattern. So what you would do is wake up, you can drink some water. In fact, we recommend drinking water with a pinch of sea salt. That's going to help hydrate you better. It's also going to help kind of keep the cravings away. For some reason, that's going to help with that little pinch of salt. And then you can still have your coffee. You can still have your tea, you can still have your chai. The only rule is that we're not going to eat anything or consume anything that can spike or signal insulin. So things that are high fat. So if you want to put a little bit of cream in your coffee, that's actually fine. You can put some heavy cream. That's what I recommend, because there's more fat, less sugar. And if you're putting a tablespoon or two in, it's not enough to trigger insulin. Because that's one of the benefits of not eating for an extended period of time, is your body's not making insulin. And when your body is not making insulin, you're less likely to be inflamed. You're also not going to store body fat. And when you don't have higher insulin levels in your bloodstream, your body is very willing to release body fat for energy. And that's one of the reasons that we can accelerate weight loss using this technique, if that's something that you're interested in, or actually maintain ideal or better body mass or body fat percentage. And this is something that will improve your metabolism in general by not signaling insulin. So that's the only rule. Just don't eat anything that signals insulin. So typically sugary things, so you don't want to put any sweetener in your coffee or your tea in the morning, and that's going to make a big difference. And so what you would do is try to extend the time. So let's say you had that last meal at 7 o'clock. At 7 a.m., you're already at 12 hours. So if you can get an extra 2 to 4 hours, makes it super easy. And then you can just go ahead and eat. And once you open the window, you can eat in that prescribed amount of time. And if that's 6, 7, 8 hours, even 9 or 10, it's fine. We're going to have a resource for you that will detail this out, and will actually give you lots of different ways that you can fast. As you start practicing this fasting technique over time, you may start doing 24-hour fasts. You can look at 48-hour fasts. I practice those occasionally as well. There are benefits to being in a fasted state. Some people are going to say, hey, isn't this starvation? Won't this slow my metabolism down? Not at all. Starvation is an involuntary situation where we have no access to calories or to food. But in this kind of situation, it's a choice. We're making a choice not to eat for periods of time because there are going to be health benefits associated with that. And as I mentioned, when you're not signaling insulin, you also set up your body for another mechanism, which is called autophagy. Autophagy was the subject of the Nobel Prize in Medicine and Physiology in 2016. It's a really kind of a newer concept, but what it is that literally the word means eating yourself. And when we're not eating, what happens is our body turns on its repair mechanisms. And there is a huge complement of cells and biological mechanisms that are out in your body going through, and they're checking all your cells, making sure the DNA is okay, making sure that the cells are not deficient, and the little organelles inside, like your mitochondria, are working properly. And when your body finds, your immune system actually finds that those cells are not working optimally, they will either upregulate them or repair them, or altogether break them down into proteins. And this mechanism can actually help heal your body. It can help heal injuries, can help prevent things like Alzheimer's and other dementias. Again, more research needs to be done, but the emerging research is telling us that autophagy is an amazing mechanism that we want on. And when we're not eating, that means our body is in that state longer. And that protects our well-being and our health. It can help optimize where we are. So we will have a resource available for you. It's something that you can tap into. You can actually check in with us here at Lumen and your staff that's supporting you in this 28-day challenge. And we can help you make this happen as part of your lifestyle. And that 5-2 is a great way to start, and then you may slowly incorporate more days than not. Like right now for me, most days I fast unless I happen to wake up hungry, or maybe it was a big activity day, not a big deal, but I would say most of the time I'm fasting 5 to 7 days a week. That's something that you can work towards, and it's really not that hard after you practice for a little while.